Welcome to the Fear and Greed Afternoon Report for Thursday the 19th of May 2022. I'm Sean Aylmer. Every afternoon we bring you the 5 news items that happened today that you need to know about. Story number 1, that the S&P ASX 200 finished the day down 1.7% to 7,065 points. Consumer-facing stocks were among the hardest hit. Why? Because many retailers, for example, are struggling to pass through higher prices, and that eats into profit margins. Wesfarmers, which owns Bunnings, Kmart, Target and Officeworks, tumbled 7.4% today to its lowest close in 18 months. Woolworths was down 5.4% and JB Hi-Fi tumbled more than 6%. Across the bourse more broadly, the banks fell, with Westpac down more than 4% after it went ex-dividend. Another to go ex-dividend was fund manager Pendal. Its share price closed down 7.3%, but not all of that could be blamed on the dividend. The big miners were also lower. Telstra was off more than 1%, and several of the tech stocks tumbled. Only the healthcare index managed to avoid the red today, with CSL up 0.5%. Now, the lead-in from Wall Street was awful, and that's story number 2. Wall Street fell sharply overnight, with the Dow Jones Industrial Average, which measures the performance of 30 of the largest companies in the US, having its worst day since 2020. The Dow closed down 3.6%. The broader-based S&P 500 was off more than 4%, and the tech-heavy Nasdaq tumbled 5%. Not helping the mood were comments from US Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen, who warned of potentially slower growth and higher prices, otherwise known as stagflation. Some big companies lost a lot of ground. Retailer Target fell 25% after warning that inflation was hitting earnings. Walmart, the country's biggest retailer, lost another 7% after losing 11% yesterday. The tech sector was also sold off, with Tesla and Amazon both down 7% and Apple off 6%. Carnage, really. Story number 3, the unemployment rate in Australia has fallen to 3.9%, according to the Australian Bureau of Statistics. That's the lowest rate in 48 years and is sure to put pressure on wages. Prime Minister Scott Morrison, 2 days ahead of the federal poll, welcomed the figures, saying it demonstrated that the coalition's economic policies were working. Opposition leader Anthony Albanese said it was fine to have plenty of jobs, but the bigger issue was the cost of living and people not being able to afford everyday life. Story number 4, poker machine and gaming giant Aristocrat Leisure said it will return $500 million to shareholders after announcing a record half-year profit. It has plenty of cash on hand after raising $1.3 billion to buy British gaming software company Playtech, a deal which ultimately fell through. The buyback announcement helped Aristocrat's share price jump nearly 7%, and remember, that's on a day where the market fell. Chief Executive Troy Coker said the company was pursuing a build and buy strategy for online gaming and wants to become the global leader in the sector. The news came as a group outlined a near 50% jump in net profit for the 6 months to March 31 on the back of a 23% jump in revenue. And story number 5, travel group Webjet returned a profit for the second half of this financial year. It's been a while. For the 12 months to March, revenue was up 466%, while expenses were up just 7%. That's a pretty big improvement in profit margin. For the full year, the group made a pre-tax loss of $15 million, much better than 12 months earlier. The post-COVID North American and European businesses were performing strongly, and April proved to be the most profitable month since the pandemic began. Good on Webjet. That's it for the afternoon report for Thursday, the 19th of May, 2022. Michael Thompson and I will be back tomorrow morning for the Friday edition of Fear and Greed. I'm Sean Aylmer. Enjoy your evening.